We're going to kick off Monday evenings, hectic, especially in the winter. Welcome everybody. I'm Ilse. If it's your first time, I'm a health and nutrition coach, and we will discuss the gut tonight. I'm going to share my screen with you, and let's get started. There you are. So I'm from Light to Live. I'm a health and nutrition coach. I've been doing this since 2016, but actually we've been on this road of this path of healthy living since 2004. So it's about 21 years now. And it is my privilege to help people get healthy and regain their health and life back and enjoy life more. And gut is the core of your health. So what we are talking about tonight is the basis of what I do. I help people with practical plans and to incorporate that into their lifestyle so that they can reap the benefits of their efforts. So your gut and your mood is very closely connected. The main reason for that is that your gut and your brain is connected like two teenagers. They talk to each other all the time. And one main thing about your body is that it absolutely everything in your body is connected. And if you have heart disease, it's not only your heart that has a problem, it's everything in your body that's connected with the blood flow is impacted. And the same with your mood. Your gut is connected to your brain. You're not a piece of Lego that you can take off your head and say, okay, there's nothing to do with my head or my emotions. If your gut is unhealthy, then your brain also struggles and you have mood issues, or your teenager have mood issues. And many times when people tell me their kids struggle to learn or they have ADHD or whatever the case may be, I say, let's start with what is the food, and then we fix the food first, and then you can see whether it's necessary to have medication or whatever that may be. So, yes, so let's move forward. So, your gut is basically like one large donut that is stretched out. So, when you eat food, it gets into the system, go through your throat, and into this whole system that has to digest the food in such a way that it becomes particles of minerals and vitamins and antioxidants and phytonutrients, everything that your body needs to keep strong and healthy to build your immune system. So the food is in your body, but it's not part of your body. It has to go through your stomach, and your liver plays a role, your pancreas, your gallbladder, everything has a role to play until you get to the space of your small intestines, and then it gets absorbed through the lining into your blood stream, and there's where all the minerals go to the cells that is necessary. But your body every day has a role to play when it tells your gut what is needed today. You don't need the same amount of vitamin C every day and the same amount of vitamin B. So everybody, the needs in your body is different, and it's a very, very, very complex system. So your gut microbes are basically trillions of bacteria, viruses, and fungi that makes up your microbiome, and that is what is happening inside of your gut. And every one of these trillion particles has a role to play. They have a work to do. And if they are healthy and strong, they help your body to perform optimally. But if they are in a poor condition and there's not a lot of them, of the good guys, then your body is up for a fight. And if you think about microbes, there are more bacteria, fungi, and viruses in your gut, on your thumb, than there are people in the UK. So if we think that I just have to sanitize my world around me, you basically disrupt your whole gut microbes, because what I found with digestion is that people in South Africa or in Africa, in rural Africa, has a more stronger gut than the people in Europe, because in Europe they live more hygienically. They disinfect everything, and it's not the best thing to disinfect the whole world around you, because you disrupt it with all the antibacterial things that you have. People in rural Africa who live close to the land has a more robust microbe than people in America and Europe that's highly live of processed foods and things like that. So the Western world is actually killing their own gut with all these processed foods and the hygiene and things like that. The only time that you really have to look after hygiene and things like that with sanitation and things like that is in hospital when you're in an ICU, because you're then very weak and your body can't fight all the intruders. So your microbiome is ever changing, and whatever you eat change your microbiome on a daily basis from second to second. And every bite you take makes you stronger or weaker. And you are only as strong as your weakest link. So you are not the result of your genes per se. You are the result of what you are eating and doing with your gut from day to day basis, and you can make yourself stronger or weaker. Um, so your defense force is in your gut. 70% of your microbiome is your immune system. It feeds your immune system. So if you think about the whole army in your gut, it just makes sense to see that if you have the whole spectrum of a defense force, the foot soldiers, the airplanes, the tanks, the navy, all of them, then if they are strong, then they can fight on every place. They can pick up a fight and overwhelm the bad guys. And I always said that to my kids: you have to feed your soldiers because they are fighting for you. No soldier can fight for you if they are weak. So their purpose is food digestion on the one side, but also to protect you against toxins. If you have a wide diversity of immune system, they can address the toxins and work with them and overwhelm the toxins and then work them out. The same with your immune system. They are a force against all the intruders. If you just think about COVID, that was a very good way that we saw it played out with people with a strong gut. They survived COVID better than people who were living off junk food and made bad lifestyle choices. So it also supports your gut health and your brain health. And with brain health, I would definitely see that with kids and with elderly people. The choices you make throughout life has an impact on how you are going to age, especially with brain health, and Alzheimer's and dementia plays out because of what is happening in your gut. So what leads to an unhealthy microbiome? First of all is poor nutrition. So if you think about your body, all the needs that it has, it needs specific amount of vitamin C, of protein, carbs, fats. That's the macro nutrients. But it also have a lot of needs on the micronutrient level. And if you put that out as a pie chart and you have specific needs every day, and you complete that pie chart with the food that you get, your body gets everything it needs to feed your microbiome. But say, for instance, your food is very devoid of micronutrients, especially things like processed foods and sweets and everything that you buy with a label and a sticker on that, and will have a lot of chemicals in that. Your body doesn't get all the nutrients, and it creates a bacterial imbalance and also toxic overload. The more processed food we eat, the more toxins we have in our bodies. And then it creates an imbalance in your gut. And you just have to top it off with a little bit of stress. Then your body gets overwhelmed and it can't fight the fight for you anymore, because your body are designed for natural foods. So the more whole foods you eat, the stronger your microbiome become, and the more it is fighting fit for the battle. And now that we are in winter, there's a lot of virus and things go on in our environment, and people's microbiome take hits. So you need to fight it with something stronger, that your body needs to become stronger in this season to fight the fight when it's colder. So the best thing to do for your body is give it proper nutrition. That is step one to get to that point. Okay, so your gut microbiome influences your mood more than anything else. And that's the words from Dr. Will Bilskovich, who's a specialist in gut. And he studied gut for like how many years do you specialize? And then he realized, but he's a specialist now, but he still doesn't, he was himself in a bad shape. And then he went into nutrition as part of gut health. And then he discovered, well, the reason why he was overweight and his gut was in poor shape was because he didn't study nutrition per se. He studied pharmaceutical solutions or to treat the symptoms, but his microbiome was also in a bad shape. So what happens in your gut also happens in your mood. And when you feel down in the dumps, it has so much to do with what you ate. So serotonin is your mood stabilizer. It's calming your neurons down, where dopamine is excitement neurotransmitter. Serotonin calms everything down, and it really creates your mood. And 95% of that is created in your gut. So if your gut is healthy, your mood stabilizer is there. You have a steady mood set every day. You feel in control of your day. You feel like I can get up and do things. And when it's not there, you just feel blue all the time. And that's what's happening many times in winter, because we go for the comfort foods, and many of the comfort foods don't have nutrients, proper nutrients in it. So ADHD, mental fog, low concentration, all of them are connected to what you eat. If you feel you are stressed out, you don't have what it takes, you struggle to concentrate, especially with kids, just look at the food that they eat. The more proper nutrient-rich food they eat, the better they feel, the more they can get up and can get going. And if your environment around you is cold and dark, then many times we feel we want to lie down and just sleep more. Well, sleep is good in the winter, but look at the quality of your food. So let's look at the type of foods that we need. Even IBS, constipation, and emotional trauma, all of them are very closely linked. And we see that IBS is much more connected to women than men. And constipation and IBS runs together. So it's not always the case, but many times women battle with both of them because their stress sits in their gut. Many times men get more heart disease, and they don't have this long suffering, but if women is under stress, it sits in their gut and they just feel yuck all the time. And then we just have to look at what is going on with their nutrition. What I find with women especially is they would always put their family first and them last, and they won't eat, or they try to diet and then they won't eat, or they will just snack in the run, and that doesn't help for their gut. So emotional trauma basically have two roots. The one is in emotions and your interpretation of the stress, and on the other side is also what's in the food. So what's going on with your genes and your gut? And here's the good news. You are not a victim of your biology or genes. We are the results of our lifestyle choices. So you have two types of genes. You have the dictator genes. This is according to Dr. Neil Barnard, who's a specialist in food and genetic expression and diabetes. You have two types of genes. The one is the dictator genes that tell that you are born with brown eyes, dark hair, you are good with maths, you are good with one type of sports or not good with that. This is how long or how tall you will be or not. So this is a dictated genes that it depends on what is your heritage from your family. On the other side, you have your committees of genes, and they decide on a day-to-day basis what will happen with you. Will you get ill or not? What's going to play out? And they depends on your gut to make the decisions, because your gut is talking to your brain constantly and saying, we have a problem here. What will we do? And will a gene be set to on or off? And depending on the stress that your gut have, your genes are put on and off. It's like a switchboard. Your gut is the switchboard to put your genes on and off. And if your gut is in a healthy state and you get all the nutrition you need, your genes can play out in a healthy way. And I see that all the time with my clients. The moment they take control of their health and we take control of the gut and give it proper nutrition, suddenly all the issues with the genes is gone, because your genes is just like a it's like a gun, and it gets fired. There's a bullet in the gun, but somebody has to pull the trigger, and the trigger is lifestyle. So the moment you take control of your health and we focus on proper nutrition first, then suddenly all the genetic cholesterol and blood pressure and things becomes normal. And I saw that in my own family. My mum, her dad died at the age of 49 with a sudden heart attack. Her grandpa died of heart disease, so she was always scared about heart disease. But when she was in her 50s, here comes the cholesterol and the blood pressure. She was put on medication. They could not get her cholesterol lower than 7.9 with the medication. She was on that for 20 years. At the age of 75, she joined the program. And within a few months, her cholesterol was 4.9. Genetic cholesterol coming back to normal. Her blood pressure came back to normal. For the past 6 years, they are off all their medication. They are both in their 80s. Dropped 15 kilos as a good side effect. And it's just healthy. Every year, the medical aid send a nurse to check these two old age people who's on no medication at all. They didn't even get colds or the flu last year. So this is the link between your genes and your gut. Give your gut the proper food and everything will come back to normal. So here's the bottom line. Every cell in your body will improve when your gut health improves, and your gut health improves when your nutrition improves. This is the first step. So how can you improve your emotional and gut health today? Take that one step in the right direction. The first thing is food, proper food. So we look at 30 different plants per week. That sounds like a huge mountain to climb. But for every handful that you take, that counts for one. So one carrot is good. Green beans is good. A handful of green beans. An apple. A red apple counts for one. A green apple counts for two. A red tomato, yellow tomatoes. So you can see it's not only that you have to eat everything different, but different varieties of the same type of food is also good. So different types of mushrooms, avos is good. So everything that you put in your hand, that fills your hand, counts for one. And if you count all of them over a week and you love your veggies, you will get to 30 quite easily. I usually throw out this once particularly challenge for my clients during the program, and most of them get it done by day 4 of the week. So it's not that difficult, but give yourself, this is your challenge for this week. See if you can have 30 different types of plants during 1 week, 7 days, and see if you can get there. Okay, and then fiber. Fiber is one of the red flags. If you don't get enough fiber, your body struggles. Your body are designed for fiber. And in one orange, there's about 5 grams of fiber. Your body needs 40 grams, more or less. More is good. And you get your fiber from plants. Paradise, things paradise foods. All the other foods that's processed, they need to add some extra fiber. So that's not the same than getting it from plants. So the first of all is fruits. Fruit has a lot of fiber. Every handful of fruit is about 5 grams. If it's a big thing like shaddock, pamplemousse, it's like 10 grams or 15 grams. So whatever fits in your hand is about 5 grams. And then greens and veggies, obviously, you can see, you know you will eat a lot of fiber when you eat food and it fills you up. You feel, wow, I'm getting satisfied, I'm full, I don't need more. That's part of the purpose of fiber. Proper fiber fills you up and you feel full. And raw nuts and seeds. Just one side note on fibers and veggies and fruit. There's a whole big noise about Ozempic and all of these foods. But actually in nature, the same thing that happens when you inject yourself with Ozempic is in nature. If you eat fiber-rich foods, it fills you up and turns off that signal that I'm hungry. What Ozempic basically does, it turns off that signal. But your body didn't have any nutrients. So there's nothing good in your gut that can give the message to your brain, I'm satisfied, I'm full. So you can be very depleted of nutrients and feel full with a chemical like Ozempic or one of those foods of medications. But fruit and veg does that at a fraction of the cost for you and giving you all the benefit of healthy food. And then raw nuts and seeds, not salted and deep fried foods, nuts and seeds. But just remember, when you look at nuts, there's a macadamia nut and there's a walnut. In nature, nuts come with hard shells and it's hard to crack. It takes some effort. And nature always presents us with the food in a container that tells us how much we should eat. So if you have to crack all those nuts, you won't eat more than 12 nuts an hour. That's about the nuts you should eat a day, not more than 12, because that's how nature brings calories to us. If something has a lot of calories, if it's calorie dense, it brings it in a container that's difficult to use. So if you have dates, for instance, it's very sweet. You have to climb the date tree. If you want honey, you have to fight the bees. So that's how we should eat that. So always keep that in mind. Nuts and seeds is very healthy. It's good for your skin. It's good for your brain. But it's not supposed to eat as a snack while you're watching TV. That is way too easy. And then aromatics like onions, shallots, garlic. This is your winter food that's really feeding your microbiome and making you strong from the inside out. And again, have brown onions, have white onions, red onions, garlic, all of those. Lovely. If you cut up garlic knob and you put it upside down in an oven pan and you bake it, you can just take the skin off after half an hour, and there is the fully baked roasted garlic that's lovely within your food, and it's very good for your gut health, and it's actually protecting you against colds and flus and parasites. You won't get worms if you eat a lot of garlic. Just make sure you don't connect with too much people closely. That will also have an impact. And then legumes, that's nature's winter food, because those are the foods who last forever. Before there was fridges, there were legumes. So lentils, chickpeas, beans, lovely soups and things like that is so good for you. A lot of fiber in that, and also a lot of nutrients that your body needs. Protein as well, rich in protein. You can have that unlimited, and I can promise you, you won't eat more than a can and feel, oh, I'm really full, because that is the type of foods that make your body feel, I'm full and satisfied, thank you. And then sprouts. Now, this is a new thing, the last decades or something like that. But the beauty about the sprout is that it's a little seed that germinates, and within that little sprout, you have everything from the root to the the trunk to the branch to the leaves, everything is in that little seed. It's maximum micronutrients per spoonful of sprouts. So there's a one crazy guy, you always get crazy people. He did a test. He went with his bottles of seeds to the Nevada desert in America, and for 60 days he stayed there. He just did sprouts for 60 days. He took his jars and then sprout every day of 2 or 3 teaspoons of new sprouts, and he lived off that for 60 days, and he was strongest ever when he came back because of all the dense nutrients in that sprouts. But for most of us who don't know that, you just need a little bit every day, maybe a handful over your salad, or eat it like it is. It's really good food. If you don't know that, you don't have to start with that. You can start with the top 4 categories, 5 categories. And then mushrooms. Mushrooms is also full of nutrients. In South Africa, we don't, especially in the Free State, they don't know all the different varieties of mushrooms. We're not used to that, but give it a try and put it in your soups. It's very good. And mushrooms is one of those fungi that is really flavorful. So many of the vegan dishes, burgers and things, uses mushrooms to get the meaty flavor. If you don't like mushrooms, or people in your family don't like it, just add it with your onions, or saute it on the side and then blend it so that you don't get that mushy texture, but the flavor gives it a meaty flavor when you put it in your food. So soup is delicious with a mushroom. Yes, there are your 7 categories of things that you need for a healthy gut. And I can promise you, if you have 30 of these different types a week, your gut will improve. But they also found if you work with your hands for 3 weeks in the garden, just work in the soil, your gut will improve. Because your body does not take everything just through your mouth. It also absorbs through your skin, and your gut is connected to everything. The earth was made in such a beautiful, balanced way that everything has an impact on everything. And also one thing that they found is that if any person from outside the world with a good gut goes to America, 3 months later, their gut will be in a worse condition than what it was in another country, because Americans are one of those nations who eat the most junk food of all. And I saw that with my own daughter. She went to America as an au pair, and she said to me, even if she eats an organic peach, that's $5. You can think about 100 rand. It didn't taste well. She never felt that good, and she really tried to eat healthy, but the food is just so mega processed there. Even the healthy foods is not as good as what we have here in South Africa. So we really have still good food in South Africa that is nutritious. And I'll first start with food. That's the best thing. So if you are living on a lot of junk food, just give yourself permission. It's not going to be a quick fix. Take it like a tortoise. Take it slowly, but take it steadily. Make one decision a week and say, this week I will try to eat at least every day a new or another veggie. I will add veggies and say, for instance, I want to take in double the amount of veg that I did last week. So if you had 2 veg, try to go for 4. And if you nail that one for 7 days, okay, add another one. Let's go for 5 veggies a day. Or if I had only 1 fruit a day, let's go for 2 and go for variety. And over time, you will see you get to that 30 plants a week. And it's going to take focus. And eat your fruit and veg first in the day before you eat any treats. Go for the fruit and veg first and your legumes. And the more you do that, you will see, okay, there's some small improvements. So the thing about the gut, if you have a gut that is disrupted and you have a gut issue like IBS or constipation or diarrhea, or you're constantly being sick, that's a sure sign of a gut that's not in a good state. The longer you've been in that unhealthy state, the longer it will take for your body to restore itself. But it doesn't need to take 40 years if you're now 40 years old. It will take maybe instead of 6 weeks, 12 weeks. But if you are intentional and if you are consistent, it will start to trust you again. Because a gut that is hurt is a little bit like a child that has been abused. It won't trust you on day one. So maybe when you first eat something like legumes, you will feel like you feel bloated and you feel funny, but your gut need to find the new microbiome microbes to digest this initially. So for most of my clients, I tell them the first 3 weeks is going to be a discovery phase. So not everything is going to feel, oh, I'm everything is fine. So maybe you will feel a bit of discomfort, but just go slowly. Don't do everything all at once, because you will get discouraged and it will feel overwhelming. So just introduce things slowly but steadily. And usually when I start out with a new client, I try to incorporate the new transition in such a way that the family adjusts from where they are to the new place where they want to be. So you need a strategy plan there. So how long before you will see improvements? Depending on what's currently wrong there with your gut and with your mood. So if you feel down in the dumps and you feel just so negative, you don't see the light, just promise yourself to eat a little bit better, to do better with what you eat and what you don't eat. So on the one side, take out the stuff that your body does not need on the processed junk food side, and on the other side, introduce something that your body does need. And as you do this and you are focused and you stick to that, you will see the improvements. And what I do in my courses, we have in our 12-week course, we have 8 sessions. And every week, every 7 days, we evaluate the progress and we see, okay, this week the mental fog is gone great. Usually by week 2, it starts to lift. The energy is coming back. The sleep quality is improving. Oh, the constipation is going. So every week we evaluate the progress and we adjust the program and the food accordingly. So if you have somebody who guides you through this process, then it's a much easier way than to do it all by your own. But the accountability and support is really important here. So this is just a few pictures of our programs. Here's our Heal the Gut. We have 2 types of gut programs. So one is a 12-week one and the other one is a 6-month one for people like type 1 diabetics and MS people that is a gut issue. So when you have a severe gut issue there, then there's 2 types of gut programs there, 12 weeks long. And we take them from where they currently are to the goal where they want to be, and that is a road support at every step of the way. And part of the programs is also science. I see myself as a facilitator, so I take what is the need of the client and where do we want to be and what is the science that's necessary here, and I do the research for them. I've been doing over the 24 years, worked a lot with doctors all over the world that are specialists at what they do. So the one is gut and gluten, the other one is gut and fiber, and everyone has their own specific niche. And we take all the information that's necessary and bring it to the table and equip the clients so that when they finish the program, they know exactly what to do and they can connect the dots with their own system and read their body language to understand what's going on there. Okay, so this is a few of my clients. Esther is one of my clients who had a brain stent and severe migraines, and she was just fed up with being in hospital with this brain stent that they couldn't get figured out. And then after she lost all the weight, gone was the problem. felt so much better, and she's still doing, even she lost more than that by now, but going strong, full of energy, so positive. So I'm so proud of her. And one of my other clients was a diabetic, she reversed her diabetes, lost a lot of weight, and feels like a new person. Menopause conquered. Many women feels like menopause is the end of the world. No, it's not. It's just that your body and gut has a whole new relationship, and we have to fix that. And then Mariki lost about 50 kilos, more than 50, and with 5 children, really have a new life. And skin improve, everything improves when you fix the gut. And then this is my own daughter when she was in America. I told you about the food was not great. The donuts was good. The weight is not good. So she was in Hawaii at the last week. That's the photo. And when she came back, she's a fitness coach. She just went right back to healthy eating. Um, and within I think it was 2 or 3 months, she lost the extra weight and becoming fit and healthy again. And she's still very lean. So yeah, lovely to see her back in shape and doing life again. Have a lot of energy. So yeah, this is my story. I will send you the details of the gut health program, but we will make a recording of this. Is there anybody who has a gut issue question? You are welcome to raise your hands, and then we can talk about that. If you don't have a question, then I will send out this recording tomorrow with our recipe. Yes, our recipe. Let me just have a look. Where is my recipe? Oh, goodness. Oh, I sent it to my assistant, Christine. Christine, I just have to get to it. Christine, oh goodness. I forgot about the recipe. Let me just open it quickly and show you. On the recipe book, we have 2 recipe books. Oh, there's the photo. Yes, I'll just open it again. And people admit, yes. Let me just get to that recipe again. Here it is. And I will share it with you. So the recipe of the Mediterranean stew is actually lovely because it's very closely connected to a French dish named boeuf bourguignon. So it starts out with your polenta. Polenta is a gluten-free corn. It's made of corn. No mealies, and then you can use beef or lamb and chop it up, but you have your onions, your garlics, as you can see, all the gut-friendly foods, mushrooms, carrots, everything you need, and tomatoes and tomato paste, and then you have your stock. Just remember with stock, don't go for the cheap versions of the MSG stuff. I usually use in apartment stock pots. Those don't have gluten and all this junk food in that. And then red wine. If you cook your veggies in red wine, the alcohol completely dissolves and goes out, and then you have your thyme and your bay leaves. So it just you cook it for slowly for 2 hours, and then you can serve it over brown rice or polenta, but it is just so delicious. So I will share this with you afterwards, and since it's at the beginning of winter, you will just love it. We tried it a lot of times before we got to that specific outcome recipe. My family has to test many recipes before they give it a go ahead. So that's a tried and tested one. It's usually a highlight for a week if we have our Mediterranean stew. So you can go and test that one. And if you are interested in the gut health program, you are welcome to connect with me. We will send you tomorrow a link with a link for connecting with me. I do a lifestyle strategy plan. If you want to book a session with me, it's a 20-minute where we discuss what is your challenge, what do you want to do, and what is the best strategy that I can advise for you. But this one thing I can promise you, if you take control of your gut and your health, you will be thankful for yourself forevermore, because it will save you tons of money. It saved us as a family more than R1 million in 21 years. R1 million can change your quality of life. This I can promise you. And also to feel well. You don't have to feel miserable in winter and have colds and flu. You can actually feel good and have energy. So this is a game changer. And most of my clients, after they finish the programs, they say, it changed my life. I'm a new person. And this is why I'm here. I love to help people change them, transforms their health into something new that they can say, this is my new life, and I'm excited about that. So thanks a lot, people, for joining us tonight. It was really good having you here, and enjoy the new recipe. And thanks for joining us tonight. I hope to see you next week. Then we take it a bit further. Enjoy the rest of your evening. See you next week. Thanks, Hailey. Enjoy your evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks, Isna.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ilse.
Thank you.
See you the rest.
Thank
Thank you. Bye.
Thanks, Jennifer. Enjoy your week.
Bye.
Bye-bye. Okay.